going to actually start with a, recording from our CD that we made this year of Noslowen dancing. And that will just give us a chance to let in more people. And you can dance to it if you like. It's actually um, a um, serpent dance. It's Nine Brave Boys, and it's Illo Spladen, isn't it, Francis?
It is.
So I'm going to, at the same time, I'm going to share the beginnings of our PowerPoint. So hopefully you can hear all this. You'll have to adjust your own microphones, by the way. Um, Here we go.
Thank you. That was 9 brave boys.
So there we are, 9 brave boys. Um, so Francis, let's get going, shall we?
Yeah,
So you crack on and tell everybody about Degol Stul,
yeah.
perhaps.
I really wanted to put some Cornish language right in here, right in the beginning, because it runs through everything that we're going to be talking to you about, names of bands, etc. And I have only just realised this year that what Degol Stul actually means. And I came across a reference to it from Nicholas Williams, a Cornish language expert, who writes here that the word "stul" comes from stella, sterin in Latin. So I'll just read you that little bit. Ymach Lloyd o rai degol stul afel en canoic reg an epiphany, and ger canoic yw gws nesa i'r stwl in Cembric. Rag yma stwl hag istul ag a diw o tos ddiwodd stella, sterin in Latin. So that's my discovery, one of them of this year.
So we can. So anytime anybody asks you what Degol Stul means, you can now say it's the feast day of the star.
And although it's a retrospective today, I keep learning like new things and getting inspired for new stuff to do in the future. Some of you might have seen Lizzie Pridmore did a really lovely post with a star-shaped cake with different kinds of jam. Judith was talking about this. Well, a good idea for next year, says Hilary. So that's something quite special about today as well, I think.
Yep. So yeah, I'm going to move on, and we're going to just talk about what actually Noslowen is and where it comes from. Francis.
Right. Yeah. So Noslow is the name given to a Cornish dance night format developed in the late 1990s by a group of dancers and musicians. And they are Hilary Coleman, Karen Brown, myself, Simon Lockley, and Neil Davey. We were inspired by the Breton Festnos, and we wanted to present a Cornish dance night as an alternative way of celebrating the Cornish dances, which had started to be revived some 20 years earlier. And in Brittany, as in Cornwall, the name of the night, so Fest Nos in Brittany, Noslowen in Cornwall, the name was a kind of new coinage, if you like, but some of the dances were really quite old. So that's what we mean by a Noslowen, and Nos means night, and Lowen means happy in English.
Yay! And that we do like to think of them as happy nights. And this is one of the first ones that we ever put on in 2002. So do you want to say something about that, Francis?
Yeah, although we had already been running Noslowen events, we've been running them for about a year, monthly in Porthtowan Village Hall, led usually by Dalla, who were just getting going as a band at that point. And I don't know who it was who said, why don't we put 12 bands on? Because we've had 12 um, um, months of music, and we decided in any case that we would act on that idea. So after a year or so of these regular Noslowens, we celebrated 12 bands for 12th night. This is 2002. Organising an event in early January has its challenges, but some traditions, once they take root, they stubbornly grow into people's lives. Contacting bands in October for a gig in early January, involving practicing with dancers, rehearsing between Christmas and New Year, site visits in the dark when the venue was invisible in the wind and rain and there was no reception to find out if we could actually look inside, overseeing set lists when the turkey was not even carved, let alone eaten, taking leftover Christmas cake and mince pies for the final feasting. All these things somehow happened, and it turned out we all wanted a final party on the day the decorations were put away. We didn't have any other bookings then, most of us, and dancing to our favourite bands and seeing all our friends turned out to be just what we wanted to do. So we've been pulling out favourite memories of ours. This is a subjective view. There's tons more memories and more things that could be said. So this is our Degol Stul snapshot, and we hope you'll enjoy this. And find out things that maybe you didn't know and see glimpses of people that maybe you would be surprised to see at our
Yep.
different events. So
And
that's
so
too.
what we've got here is pesques pesoir, which is actually five. It means four fish, but there's actually five of them on stage. And this is a very young Jen Dyer, if anybody recognises, and Tim Defer, Ben McGar, um, Megan, Megan, is it Megan?
Megan Selby,
Selby,
Lisa
and
Harrison.
Lisa Harrison. So, and there's people dancing at Port Town. So, what we're going to do is we were I was delighted that we were able to get a VHS video digitized, and we actually have some footage of the 2002 Degol Stul. Um, Francis, if you just talk to everybody and then I can get it ready. So this is actually about is sorry, not Degol Stul. This is actually Bagus Degol is what I'm trying to say. So do you want to just say something about that, Francis, and then I'll stop the share and get the video ready.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can carry on and talk about the group of us and how we put on the events, if you like. Or did you want me to say something about Bagus Degol?
Yeah, say something about Bagus and some of the bands. That would be great.
Yeah. Okay. So
from that 2002, that would be great.
Yeah. So some of the bands that we booked in 2002 had never played for Cornish dancing before, and so we had confabs with them saying, well, if you can play half an hour of music, these are the sort of rhythms, these are the sort of steps, and they would, we would try things out, and all this was done by letter, by the way. I hope you will be interested to know, and email, not by Facebook or anything like that. It was a really exciting time because there were bands that there were people that we knew, and we had no idea if they would kind of take up this idea, really, and they did, and they consulted if they needed to know about dances rather, and they invited friends to lead dances for them.
And we've got the actual footage here, Francis, so shall I go ahead?
Yeah, go for it.
So this is Bagus Degol. They're playing Newlyn Reel, but
I really like their version, actually, the way they play it. Yeah.
And the dance is what we called lull in a drobe, because they basically didn't have men and women. Everybody goes into the middle and everybody comes out. So if you have a watch, you get the idea. And hopefully there's some people watching today who were there in this footage in 2002. I'm sure you'll recognize a few people. You may have to adjust the sounds yourself.
Oh, sounds not happening yet.
Why isn't it? The sound's not right, is it?
No. Oh.
I don't know why. It was okay with the practice, wasn't it? Let me try something else a minute.
Yep, that's it.
we are. So I'm just wondering whether I can do this without the microphone, but can you just tell me, is it making a dreadful noise on?
Yeah, it is.
Buzzing.
Okay.
Buzzing.
Okay. So how's that doing? Can you hear me now?
It's still buzzing. Oh, stop now.
Yeah. So can you hear me now? Okay.
Buzzing again now,
Okay.
unfortunately.
So I've just got to keep changing my speaker to different settings. So what I'll do is I'll keep and then Francis, you can just carry on with the next bit.
Yeah. Well, we've got you without background noise now.
Okay.
So
it's going to have to just go in and out a bit, I'm afraid, while I do those different things. But here we go.
yeah.
The next bit of the slideshow, which is about Big Nos.
Yeah, so when we started putting on the 12 bands for Degol Stul, the big Lowen in the first one in 2002, when I say we, I'm referring to the 5 people I mentioned before, myself, Hilary, Neil, Karen and Simon. Then we did a few of these events, and then we had a gap for a while, and then everything got relaunched at the instigation of Hilary, who in characteristic enthusiasm had already booked Heartlands for a big 12th night event anyway before we even had the meeting. So in 2012 we set up another working party, and we've been incredibly lucky since then to have had a wonderful team of people, musicians, dancers, MCs, treasurers, and the invaluable Claire Taylor, who has become our administrator. So Big Nos Lowen became shortened to Big Nos, which means big night. And as well as those people I just mentioned, we've also got a big group of volunteers who have been largely drawn from Hilary's singing group, the Red River Singers. Yeah. So that's kind of what we mean by all these various different names. So the Big Nos was the group that Hilary restarted in 2012 as sort of a relaunch for Degol Stul, Big Nos events.
Yes, and I think it's wonderful to have you Red Rivers involved, and thank you so much for all your help, as well as all the other people who have been involved in one way or another. There's so many volunteers have helped. And so we're moving on to venues. What were the venues, Francis? So
venues, all the different places we've been to. Well, we have the venues that we've had: Porthtown Village Hall, I mentioned, Chasewater Village Hall, the Z Shed in Penryn, Heartlands at Poole, and the Grand Pound Village Hall. And any event like these falls or stands by preparation, really. And we have planning meetings well in advance, and we end up having regular meetings, often very close to Christmas. And of course, planning and preparation is absolutely vital, but there's always when it comes to decor, which is the other part of the strand that we're talking about at the moment, you can get that wonderful element of spontaneity over and above what you've expected. People come and transform the space with winter greenery, with lights. Artists come along with withy stars. People who work in garden centres come and bring branches and garlands, carloads of holly and ivy, and all the time people are constantly networking about Degol Stul. So thus far I've been reading you just reflections of mine about Degol Stul, but from here on in I might have to issue an apology to Kathy Bennett actually at this point, because a lot of the stuff that's coming up now is I'm going to read you things from my diary, because I'm one of these people that does write a lot of diary down, and I've got my diary sort of spans most of the life of Kathy in terms of Cornish music events. And so from this point on, when I'm reading stuff out to you, it's pretty much going to be that kind of thing, entries from my diary. So there you go.
So what we thought, we would have another audio. This one again off our CD, and I haven't said, but the CD is all live recordings from Degol Stuls over the years, and this one actually is Black Eyed Nancy talking about Kathy. We have Black Eyed Nancy, and it's Black and Gold, which is a really good. You can do a jouster 4 to it. So I hope people know what a jousting ball is. Francis can show you on her fingers. So, can I just check that you're hearing that okay?
Was one summer's eve as I strolled down from Trafalgar, and I met, would you believe, a man with a golden tree. We went house to house, but first went some grumpy old curmudgeon, tried to dull us with a curse, so we rolled him into the sea. Go cut first, on the fuzzy bush, go cut first, fill up the coal. Go cut first, on the fuzzy bush, kissing's out of fashion when the fuzz is out of blue. We danced out every spot, from Pole Valley to Benelli, and upon the highest mark, set our work of bloody free. Go cut first, on the fuzzy bush, go cut first, fill up the coal. Go cut first, on the fuzzy bush, kissing's out of fashion when the fuzz is out of blue. Turn my bone, turn my milk and sell my butter, fill my pockets full of stones, watch my ills of life from me. Go cut first, go cut first, fill up the coal. Oh, go cut first, kissing's out of fashion when the fuzz is out of blue. I could see the 7 brands driving off the burning dragons, scattering ashes over the land from the smoke the brigands flee. Go cut first, go cut first, fill up the coal. Oh, go cut first, kissing's out of fashion when the fuzz is out of blue. And it's gold first to blossom, and it's not long now till dawn dances back from under the sea. Go cut first, go cut first, get up the clone. Go cut first, kissing's out of fashion when the fuzz is out of blue. I left the flailing flames, hold my head and black my body. Things can never be the same now the wheel goes rolling free. Go cut first, go cut first, fill up the chrome. Oh, go cut first, kissing's out of fashion when the fuzz is out of blue. Was the chieftain said, raise the road and fill the belly, wipe the tears you never should shed for the death of the golden tree. Go cut first, go cut first, fill up the chrome. Oh, go cut first, kissing's out of fashion when the fuzz is out of bloom. Go cut first, go cut first, fill up the chrome. Oh, go cut first, kissing's out of fashion when the fuzz is out of bloom.
thank you for your lovely dancing, Carmen, Joe, and there was somebody else as well. I've forgotten.
Sorry about the unmuted singing. I got a bit carried away.
Yeah, it was you, Francis. So, I meant to say because I was trying to sort out my microphones. I forgot to say, but I hope Sally Burley enjoyed that lovely footage of her and her lovely family dancing.
All of them, yeah.
There was Chris Burley running about making mayhem, and actually some of the footage has got my son Alfie running around with him. And then Steve Burley and Dave and Sally dancing. And then there was Becky and Beck's dad. Did you see him, Beck? I hope you did.
And Philip was there too.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and Philip, yeah.
Yeah, so it was brilliant. So I loved it. So if anybody saw someone we haven't mentioned, do let us know. I'm finding it quite hard to deal with the chat line, by the way, everybody, as well as manoeuvring the PowerPoint. So
I can be chatting. That's okay.
Good. Francis will do the chatting.
Yeah, I'll be looking at that. Yeah.
So, Francis, tell us a bit more about Porthtowan Village Hall. There was a lot
Right. Okay. Yeah. So talking about the venues. So this is from my diary. Saturday, January the 5th, 2002. Things got really busy with a buzz of excitement for Degol Stul. Phone calls, getting the car packed, Kathy's nap, getting changed. I want makeup and lipstick, says Kathy. The setting up was hard as there was a children's disco in the hall, which was on until 4.
Yes.
Then a little review by Jo Tagney, who wrote this for the Dance Agency Cornwall newsletter. She may not remember this, but she did. The Degol Stul 12th Night Noslowen at Porthtowan Village Hall on 5th January was a perfect dance event climax for the Christmas season. It was packed with happy, smiling, dancing people, and the atmosphere was fantastic. Noslowen means happy night or festive night, and it definitely was. There have been 12 Noslowens over the last 12 months, and this special one had 12 bands for 12th night, dancing to such a variety of good bands, all with their own variations on traditional Cornish music, with so many happy people, was an experience worth repeating as often as possible, and can only serve to scoop more people back into dancing.
I like the idea of scooping them, Joe. I think that's great.
Yeah, scooping them. So on the subject of Porthtowan, a really good Porthtowan memory. My next bit from 2003, I had a phone call about Degol Stul from an American clawhammer banjo player who's coming down from London for the weekend. And they did come down. They played Close My Music. They were from New York, and I, as well as their banjo playing, and I gave them a lift back home to Peterville after the event. So that was very exciting. I've got more about setting up for the event at this particular one in 2003. There was lots to do, including sorting out of outfits, putting stuff into the car, child-minding arrangements. Karen was creating a bower at the hall, which looks absolutely wonderful. And we had a pun on entrance and entrance into the room, with entrancing people as they came in, which I think is really important. Pentor were putting up bunting. You'll hear a bit more about them in a minute. And Kathy was changed into her fairy outfit. That isn't her in the picture, actually. That's Dolly Hoskin and
Yeah,
Morgan Dudding. But
we didn't have a picture of Kathy in her fairy outfit, but we thought
no,
Dolly Hoskin is just as pretty.
Yeah. So I think we've got Chasewater
Yes.
in the next slide, haven't we, for our venue?
Will be Chasewater, and I think we need to mention at this point our lovely sound engineer as well.
Yeah, Brendan, who has been the sound engineer for most Degol Stul events over a period of nearly 20 years. That is quite extraordinary, and was quite happy to go for 12 different folk lineups as a sort of first big event that he'd done sound for, I think.
And the other thing is that we just don't have any photos whatsoever of this event at Chasewater. So if anybody out there's got any photos of this event, then we'd be delighted to have them. So
2005 it was. Yeah, you got that up. Yeah.
I mean, obviously this was, I think Facebook began in 2005. So we're talking pre-Facebook here.
Yeah.
Quite something when you think about how technology has moved on.
Yeah, and so we don't have much visual evidence about Chasewater. As usual, in the lead up to the event, there were various phone calls with Hilary saying things like CD player, float, display, any items we might have forgotten. When we arrived, we discovered that everyone was waiting outside. We needed to go and get the key from a caretaker, and there was a complicated procedure with an alarm and 2 bunches of keys. All was well in the end. We decorated the hall with Karen's fairy lights and night lights. And I made even then I was being nostalgic, because I said, when I saw Joe and Hilary putting their makeup on, it was reminded me of the Jack and Jenny band, which was a band that we were all of us in preceding years to that. So
I don't
I
know
thought
if
that was
you
quite
remember
funny.
that, Joe, putting on our makeup, eh?
So apparently I said it was nostalgic to see Joe and Hilary put their makeup on like in the Jack and Jenny band days.
And the
So
other thing is to say is just something about the posters, because these posters have been designed by Simon Lockley, who was an amazing artist who was actually a surfboard designer, not the board, the painter, designed the designs that went on
the
the
images, yeah,
surfboard.
all the,
And so he used some of that amazing art ability to create these amazing, vibrant posters for us. So, shall we go to the next venue?
yeah. Well, the next venue, this is a really exciting one, because this is the Z Shed down in Penryn, and it had been in the Guardian. We were reading about, not our event, unfortunately, not having that much publicity, but in the Guardian there was an article about the Z Shed as a venue. The day before we went there for the first time, and you can see the sort of arches of the roof there looking really good. And as soon as we arrived, Andrew Marston, who's the owner there, he said, I wanted Dala to set the tone for Penryn. So it was very exciting to do, to set up in a venue like that, and do things like set up the fairy lights and the candles and clean the stools that people were going to sit on, and also to have the cafe downstairs to have refreshments in. And it was I think there was a sense of Degol Stul getting a bit bigger at this point.
And then we did have a little break, didn't we, Francis? But we
Yeah,
went on to Heartlands.
yeah. And Heartlands, talking about getting bigger, I think this is the point where you need to tell them about your dream. I can read it for you if you like, but
Well, that's fine. I've got it here. So, so I've too have kept diaries, but not as far back as Francis. So I thought, oh, I'll have a look, and I did have some about 2013, and this one, because it's the first one we'd done for a while. I think I was quite apprehensive, and actually for this event, I was playing with Pema and Fee, as cabbage stalks were 3 clarinets, and we joined forces with Mr. Bones, which is a very mad, eclectic band, with playing different themes at different times. Anyway, they joined us for this Degol Stul, and this was my dream. I dreamt I was playing with Mr. Bones, but it was all going wrong, and people were debating the arrangement on stage. The audience had come too early. They'd eaten all the food and were leaving. And Nick Tamlin, the MC, wasn't on the ball, and we were half an hour late going on. so, so I rang up Francis and was telling her about this dream, about my anxiety dream, and she reminded me that I had to keep in mind our original aim, and the main aim was to celebrate Noslowen, and that's kind of where we always wanted these events to be celebrations. So yeah, Francis, what were you thinking about?
meanwhile, this is me, potted about with my Degol Stul list on a mild day which felt like spring. Got the bin bags and the blue tag from the shop, a bag of scoots, that's a type of shoes for dancing, not mine, that's my daughter's, music stand for Kescana, water, leftover Christmas cake, stamp and ink pad for the door, raffle tickets, raffle prize, fiddle stand, flyers, Noslow memorabilia, info sheets, bags crowd sign, Kathy's running order, Kezia's band mic, which I was borrowing, my lead, double bass in the car, various phone calls. I was there at 3. We had 3 hours to decorate the space and set up the green room and the door table, plus raffle table and info and merch arrangements. Night lights, jars, fairy lights, Sarah doing the greenery. People arrived. I nipped outside to show Mike and Martin from Tridanic, which was one of the bands I was in at the time, where to park. The venue was amazing with helpful staff, and the Big Nos team look unstoppable. Cue next video.
Yeah, so I'm just going to stop the share a minute because I'm going to do another little video, and this is a compilation from Simon Reed from Rafferty Dummets of 2013. It's quite short. It's just a little mix. If we have problems with the sound again, I'll have to swap my mics, but we'll give it a go. So I'm now just going to share that screen with you, and let's give it a go to see if the sound's okay. Okay, so it's not. So I'm just going to sort this out. It was all right for you.
Oh,
There we are. We're just going to go back in slideshow. Francis?
can you change your volume? Oh, yes, that's it. Lovely. Yeah. Yeah. That's brilliant, that sequence with bits of Bagus and Carol Canna and all sorts of people.
And yeah, just with this picture that we're showing the slide.
Here you know.
And we've also got instruments like the clarinet and the fiddle, which we always have to remember to bring as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that's Rafferty Dummets coming in the doorway of Heartlands. But if you just have a look at the actual doorway, you can see just the beginning little bit of the entrance that Francis was talking about, that we always like to create an entrance for the for Degol Stul. So that was another one of Karen's wonderful decorations. So that was Heartlands. Should we
And
move
now
on
the
to
next
our next one?
Yeah, our next venue, which is Grandpound, that Grandpound Village Hall. More preparations here. I began making bunting out of old Degol Stul flyers, which actually you can see behind me, some of them. Got quite into it. And I was picked up by Hilary to go off to the event. It was wonderful to arrive and be welcomed by the hall manager, Simon Fan. Brendan and Kerry were bringing in PA. Claire and Brian were setting the greenery up into bunches to hang in the hall. The hall and green room was already warm. The table was being laid and decorated. We were just thinking about lights when some helpers arrived, and we delegated to them. Andrew and Georgina had brought stars to put on the wreaths, and the helpers put lights on them, and also the speakers. So that was from that year. Then 2020, the last one that we did, Degol Stul, the sun's shining, birds cheeping, and a fine drizzle is also falling. It feels auspicious, and I'm excited and hoping the catering's okay. Hilary picked me up at 2:40 or so, and I added my bags to the crowded car with 12th Night crowns on the back shelf, instruments in the boot, and a large bag of potatoes on the back seat. We had a list of volunteer jobs, which made the setting up very smooth, loads of helpers, and the timings were all okay. As you can see with the schedule there.
Yeah, I love that schedule. We did have another one. I got a wonderful photo of one that Francis pinned up on the door, which has been amended by Kathy, and it's just
It's all in felt pens.
all handwritten and looking crazy. This one looks much neater, doesn't it? Okay,
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Apart from the venues and the decor and the preparations, we also did some as well as the sort of core Nos Lowen, we began to do some other things over the years. and workshops and sessions was a feature of the Heartlands ones. Do you want to say anything about that, Frances?
Yeah, because in the early days, the early Degol Stuls were all about performance and dancing. After 2013 in Heartlands Pool, it was more bigger, more like a one-day festival. Hilary's Red River Singers were named after the Heartlands Cafe. Karen was leading dance classes there already. The Hornets were meeting there for their band rehearsals, and it was a small step for me to add a Baggers crowd workshop into the mix. Heartlands had opened in 2012, so it was brand new, but with lots of history, like Degol Stul, in fact. So by 2015, we were quite used to this format. One of the things I particularly enjoyed about the workshop that year, I write about here, we're in the tin room at Heartlands for the Baggers workshop led by Neil McMahon, so not led by me. So I was sitting back enjoying the workshop myself. Neil sends us out to have a jam on Nine Brave Boys and Delcio Civi. So there, and I just listed the people, you'll recognize them, their names, the Baggers people. Tashi, Tarias, Karen and Giovanna. I love going out in a breakout group with Kathy because I don't get to attend many workshops with her. And she was playing double bass, I think, at that point. And then
And
you also sent Hilary, didn't you? You had a great turnout for yours.
yeah, that that photo at the bottom is an amazing sort of fisheye lens. That wasn't a room with a curve in it. That is actually one long room. The in the Red River Cafe, and these are some of the people that joined in the song workshop that we did. And I was delighted because I had about 30 people, and we even had some new recruits for the Red River Singers. I'm not sure which ones they were. I can see Sandra there in the photograph, and this is Rachel Kane. But yeah, so we really apart from, like Francis said, not only us leading the workshops, we actually had Pip running a song workshop and Tracy doing a scrap musical instrument workshops.
That was amazing.
Yeah, and Steve Hunt did another one on accompanying.
Yeah,
his
and I
music,
played
so
for him at one point. Yeah.
yay. So that was the workshops and the sessions, and then of course what we also is really important that we had were the rituals and the traditions. I think actually this is one of my favourite bits. As you can see, there's a poem up there, the 12th Night poem, and we it's from a very early poem, but it describes the sort of traditions of 12th Night, and one of them was this cake where it says full of plums, which was also had a, a pea or a bean in it, and the people in at the feast would eat the cake, and whoever got the pea would be the king, and whoever got the bean would be the queen. And so we decided to use that idea. And Tracy here has made these beautiful cakes over the years, and when we went to Grandpound, it was wonderful because Grandpound has its own wassail tradition. So we were able to sort of build on that tradition. And there's our lovely king. Emma was a king that night. And she's drinking out of the Grandpound wassail bowl that was actually made from from holly for Grandpound for their own wassails. And they let us use the bowl. Here's Gary Tregear and Susie Tin being king and queen for the night in 2020, and this is from um, 2018. Francis, is that right?
I'm not sure actually.
Anyway, is that
Before then,
Ruby?
anyway, yeah.
I'm sorry, I've forgotten
That's
the
Ruby,
name.
yeah, Ruby and Matt Blewett.
And Matt Blewett. And then we have we had a
Kingston.
great procession with Rafferty Dummets. And the other thing we did was we sang Candilli. And so I'm going to show another footage of the Red Rivers singing Candilli.
I'm going to mute myself this time in case I have to sing.
Again, I probably have to just fiddle about with the mics a bit because this is an actual film footage. So I was just, wait a minute, I've got to stop your share, just stop the share and share something else. Sorry, I'll be with you in a second. Okay, hold on a second. I'm just going to get that one sorted. So what I need to do is not coming up on.
How's everyone getting on with their pasty making, ice cream making? The next section is food, by the way, just to let you know. We're segueing into it by Degol Stul cake, 12th night cake. The next thing is going to be food.
Yeah.
And
I see that.
its importance when you're preparing something like this.
Okay, I'm just going to try and find the image to share. Here we go. Here's the share. So this is actually Candilly in the Red River Cafe. It is actually a quite a long piece because we count up to 10 over and over again. Gradually increase to 10. So I'm just going to play the last little bit of it, and I'll just get the sound sorted out, and then we can start. Short and sweet. I think we need to thank Carmen for that footage. Francis, you need to talk so that I.
So I just was not sure how much could be heard with your. But your noise has stopped now. People don't usually say to me, Francis, you need to talk. It's usually more like the opposite. I was just going to say that we know that we owe a vast number of people a lot of thanks for everything, for putting together anybody. But lots of people have done, are people who have done the films that we're sharing and things like that. So yeah, I said that we were getting onto the subject of food, and the very important part about this, I think, is that from 2013 in Heartlands, we had a green room, which is very exciting, and this became a place to eat and drink, put your instrument cases and coats, rehearse, catch up on gossip, or even have a strategic nap under a table. The food was laid out on a big table in the middle of the room, cakes and snacks and fruit and all manner of minced pies and Christmas leftovers. I love seeing bands arrive and sort out before their sets and then compare notes afterwards and receive compliments afterwards. Also, at one point, oh yes, this is some meeting. I'm wondering what I've written here. Some notes on the fact that the Red River Cafe were going to serve chili and garlic bread for £5. Need to check for veggie option. The cafe have requested numbers for catering, suggest 150, 180. Check if they can provide wrapped biscuits or flapjacks that could be reused if unsold. Refreshments for bands in the green room, biscuits, water, apples, unwanted festive leftovers. So then during the years, that's what we did, providing refreshments and things in the green room as well. And then by the time we moved to Grandpound, Hilary particularly thought that this idea of feasting rather than these great green room parties that we were having for the performers, but it'd be lovely to have the feasting rather more central and to get back to the basic idea of having the feasting going on, then the bands afterwards. So hence the plan for everybody to sit down and eat. So in 2019, the kitchen folks arrived with their pots of chili and shepherd's pie, and the supplies of milk, coffee, sugar, and everything else worked like clockwork. Caracana sound checked. At 5:30, we took our places at the big U-shaped tables. Kathy had come out of work early. We had Hilary and Dan and Georgina and Andrew with us. Lovely to sit down and eat together. And as well as the hot food, there was bread and cheese, fruit and cake, of course, later. The food was excellent, and I felt it all went well. So in the pictures, we've got our amazing catering team, as I said earlier, from the Red Rivers.
And I'd just like to say that some of them are from Tregadoran as well. Stevie, Tina, and Tina there. There's been amazing, willingness to help out. So yeah, a huge thank you to them all.
Yeah, and not long before we were planning this one, I'd been to an event in Brittany where a violin festival, Festival du Violon, and I was really struck by the fact that it was a small village where everybody was doing the catering, volunteering, everybody was playing the fiddle in the music part of it. And I said to Hilary, I'm not sure we could do that. Do we know enough people who could cater like that? And she said, actually, we do, and then most of them live in Tregadoran. So that was just an amazing thing that could happen and then take place as a tradition and be repeated.
Yeah, lovely. So I think we've come to the end of most of the talking. Well, we might talk a bit, but we'll also have playing some tracks now from all the different bands that we've had over the years. So do you want to say something about that, Francis?
Yeah, I don't know whether um, people are aware of the fact that obviously there have been quite a lot of bands over the years, and I've been adding them all up, and there have been 48, in fact. 48 different bands who've played at Degol Stul in events over the 13 events that we have held. There have been youth bands, singers, instrumentalists, acoustic bands, street bands, community groups, duos, trios, big bands with guests, soloists. People have played on the stage, on the dance floor, parading in with pipes. There have been jam sessions at the end of the marathon 12 bands. Dancers have always jumped up and danced to every single band, and most musicians have done the same. Practicing and rehearsing and coordinating with dancers has all gone on for weeks in advance. So, and here we have some of them. I mean, I could read them all out if you wanted to, but I have an A to Z of bands, but shall I hang on for a bit and see whether it's needed?
You can decide when that's appropriate.
Yeah, if you say to me speak, then I'll give you the list.
So what we've got anyway, you can see on this one there's a picture there of Pentor and Will Manley sort of, and his sisters are involved there, and this piece of writing that is describing them actually comes from our first from that period. We had an MC that introduced them, and so these are the notes we gave them. And this lovely picture of Caracana. I just want to say they've been involved right from the beginning, Caracana, in very many different lineups, but they've gone through all the Degol Stuls with us, which has been wonderful. And this quote down the bottom was actually from a piece that Karen Lockley Brown wrote for us as a press release, which I thought was a rather lovely description. So shall we have a little bit of Caracana now, Francis?
Yep, that sounds good. Actually, I just wanted to say before we do that's actually Pentor and Illo in the picture. Although these are young teenagers, the people from Pentor were nurturing and working with other musicians in their school, which was in Tor Point, and their band was called Illo. And I think it's sort of a mix of lineup there, Pentor and Illo playing together. And when this picture was put up on Facebook, they were making jokes saying about how unenthusiastic teenagers they look. But I don't know, I think they look great. But,
so here's Caracana coming
yeah,
on.
here's Caracana. And I was in Caracana in that picture, although not in the clip you're going to hear. There I am with Pemma and Joe.
Yeah, this clip comes from much later, 2018 or so. And it's a Cabin Pemp, Martin Jeffries and Tansis Galowan. some of the dancing going on. I don't know if I've managed to spotlight some of you, but they're playing along with drums and bazookies, dancing around kitchens. It's wonderful. Thank you. So yeah, what we got next, Francis?
Well,
Here we are.
here we are. We're just recovering from our Cap and Pemp and our Martin Jeffries and Tansis Gallowan and everything else. Yeah, so yeah, just memories about different bands. And about the atmosphere that they all created. In 2002, for example, I mentioned crowds of people, every band doing well, numbers swelled with newcomers, families, young people back to college the next day, lovely food, wonderful atmosphere, and everyone friendly. One of the best events we've ever done. And the following year, this is one of my favourite bits. There's no picture of this band, but they existed. Europe by Storm, who did really well to open, featuring young Burleys, young Colemans, etc. And they did a version of Newlyn Reel, which went into rawhide and involved shouting in the middle.
And
Which
I
was,
think Sam, my son Sam, didn't he do something with a tin tray? Didn't they bash their heads to make the sound of the whipping?
they did. There was definitely a huge sense of drama went on in that number, and they opened. I think they opened that year, 2003.
Yep.
And I also, that was the early days of Baggers doing an Oslo and playing for Big Noslowens as well. So I was very proud of us being able to do that. And I was involved in Caracana and Keskana in that particular year. That was 2003.
And I was going to say that although these photos are from much more recently, you've got Three Daft Monkeys from 2017 and Keskana from 2013, the photos, but they both bands that performed in 2003.
Yeah.
The descriptions of both of them are from 2003. So I think Joe might like to see that in 2003, you just mentioning how you had created an idyllic Christmas CD. And we were listening to that this year, and there's still a wonderful CD if anybody wants to buy a Cornish Christmassy CD. That's a wonderful one.
Yeah. I think part of doing these big events is kind of organizing things. When we were talking about Hilary and I having a bit of a gap between doing these big Noslowens, one of the things that happened in the middle of the gap, I think, is our work with community groups, so that Hilary with the Hornets and later with the Red River Singers and me with Baggers Crowd, we kind of developed how to do things, and we worked out how to be able to take part in these events with a larger sort of community group. For example, in 2005, I was pleased with myself because I was assertive in getting Baggers Crowd standing in the right places, and I think that's a good thing. So I think before then I just kind of wasn't too bothered about where people stood. So, oh, that's a lovely Z Shed picture in the middle. Well, all of them, they're all Z Shed, yeah, of
So
course.
you mentioned Baggers Crowd and 2005. So
yeah, people in their party dresses and stuff. Yeah.
Dead Shed.
I'm standing at the back there. Oh, because any rows of small children would have to be in the front. So I sometimes was kind of in the middle there, with a row of our youngsters in front. 2008, that is.
Oh,
I think you've got.
Oh, okay. In 2005 was when we were in Chasewater, wasn't it? And that's
Yes, this 2008 is the Baggers one.
I like
there.
the fact that you said in 2005 Baggers Crowd that Stephen Burley was great playing bass
Yes.
and dancing.
Yeah, that's right, playing bass and dancing. And we sometimes had a big jam at the end where any musician could just join in, which happened in that 2005 one you mentioned as well.
And of course there's Dalla there with Steve as part of our lineup. And that was when we were still Dalla before we changed to Skillywidden.
Yes. Up there in the Z Shed as well.
And I've got another video to show, which involves sorting out the microphones.
Okay, so this is 2018. This is another Heartlands one.
Don't talk about that one yet. Talk about.
Well, it'll appear in a minute. I tell you what I'm going to do then. I'm going to start with A. Are you ready? I'm going to start with A. Here we go. And when you want me to stop, right, Ahannon, Angoff Band, Armenes and Neil Davey, Baggers Crowd, Baggers Degol, The Baguettes, Black Eyed Nancy, Cabbage Stalks, Caracana, Coleman Carey, Crowd Control, Dalla, Dave Bacon, Davy Dyer, Davy Kubrick Townsend, Europe by Storm, Gore Vagus, Graham Ellaby. Can I stop yet?
No, keep going.
No? Right, keep going. Okay. Francis Bennett and Neil McMahon, Hebmar, Hedra, Henavek, Hilary Coleman and Jen Dyer, Horners, Illosplan, Keskana, Kit and Myla, Money to the Moon, Morvoran, Mr. Bones, Neil Davy and Mark Hadley, Omlathorion, Pentor and Illo, Penzance Geezers, Pescus Pessoir, Rajolvian, stop for breath, Radden, Rafty Dummets, Red River Singers, Salt and Sky, Second Wave, Skillywidden, Spiris and Guare, Tesson Coint, Three Daft Monkeys, Tridanic, Tree Coeth, Will Coleman and Francis Webb.
And
That's
now we
it.
have
There we go. The Baggers crowd
A
in the
little-
atrium.
that's it. So here we
A
go.
glamorous
a cabaret.
lineup with Charlotte and Farah. Yeah, yeah. This is one of my favourite little clips here, actually, because we've got
Right.
our cello in the background and we're playing two borders and we're just really enjoying ourselves.
There, that was rather lovely. You hear me okay?
Yep. My speaker just fell over. Got too excited.
Your speakers and
Just,
mine.
just right. Whew. Yes. So we're back again. What else can we tell you about bands? Oh right, yeah. The next one is about Tridanic, but when you're
Yep. Let's just get the
when
next
getting the right slide.
Here we are.
Right. So here we've got we had some bands on as a concert in the afternoon in the Heartlands venue. As you can see there, that's crowd, which means fiddle, but there we have Neil, Jen and Richard. And then we had the bands playing for dancing in the big hall, Mr. Bones and the Cabbage Stalks, which is probably a rare appearance of Mr. Bones and the Cabbage Stalk. And then there's me in Tridanic, which I really enjoyed. That particular night was a quite recent addition of Henry, who is there on the left, Henry Tamlin, playing electric guitar rather than bouzouki. And afterwards, I particularly liked the fact that I was chatting with somebody and 3 people came up and told me I was a rock chick, which was something that's never happened before in my life. But it was really good fun.
I think you I need to take a look at this photo at Francis, and I think she does look quite like a rock chick there.
And we also have to say that, unlike in Hilary's Dream, Nick, who's playing the mouth organ there, harmonica, was an excellent MC who kept everyone absolutely to time and made every band sound like a sort of apocalyptically fantastic, fantastic lineup, which was really fun to hear him announcing everything. And obviously he's not the only MC we've had. We've had loads of like great MCs, Mike and Karen and many other people.
Yeah, I would like to add in there. I would like to add in that my dream was definitely not based on reality.
No.
I'm glad.
which is good, isn't it? Yeah, so no, it was particularly good to do that Tridanic gig there because everybody there apart from me had not been to these kind of events before. They brought their families and it was just a really lovely, a very exciting thing and really lovely to see. And then my friends who were all there already, had not all of them heard what we were doing with this particular lineup, and so it was a very exciting time with a lot of good feedback for us.
And so shall I now play a Tridanic track, which will
I think you should, yeah.
which will go very well with what you've just been saying. This is Vespers Venner. It's what's he called?
Henry
Tamlin has written some great tunes. I'm sure you've all heard some of his tunes without even knowing it. But this one's called Vespers Venner, which is the Beast of Bodmin. And it's a very, is it a Headley, Francis? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it's a Headley. So do join in with the dancing on this one. It'll be just getting ready right now. Well, it will be in a minute. Come on. Yes, it is loading.
Oh, I've just seen Rose's comment that the that Bacchus night, that was when she broke her foot. Goodness,
Oh,
I hadn't realised it was that occasion.
here it goes.
There you go. keeps the running.
Brilliant.
That's Nick. Yeah.
Oh, hey. So, what we got next, Francis?
Right. Well, just turn it off a bit. So we've talked about Tridanic, and
Here we go.
yeah, I think we've got Henavik and the Hornets. Yeah. So, because and we got loads of people and multiplicity of Skillywhiddens as well.
Not yet.
Not yet. They're a bit previous.
They jumped on too quick.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned we've heard Magnus Crowd, and we've heard the Red River Singers with the Candilly, and we've talked about the community groups that Hilary and I have run, and here we've got the Hornets, a really big lineup, and I think we've got some Hornets we're going to hear in a bit, haven't we? Have we got some or not?
Before we do that, I've actually got a video of Henavik, and
Oh yes.
it's actually, so I'm going to stop the share, and what I might do is I've got two videos back to back, and I was thinking that maybe I'll play one after the other. One is of Henavik and one is of the other one, Hornets. Sorry, this is multitasking, by the way, everybody.
Multitasking, and we've got quite a few Henaviks watching, I believe. We have representatives of everybody
Brilliant
watching, but Henavik all met in Magnus Crowd, and so they're kind of added to the list of people who kind of found themselves in Magnus Crowd and then spotted a few other people they might like to play music with, and then went on and did that, which is absolutely amazing. And they've made CDs, etc.
Just before I start this video, I just say it's Coinage Hall, but this is one that Carmen took, and this is one of my favorites actually, Carmen, because she actually takes a video of herself going through the tunnel, and I love Coinage Hall, and it, I don't know, it's brilliant. So just I'm going to remove my microphone, and then you'll be able to hear this. So we're going to do the other one straight away. Of the Hornets.
Yeah, I've seen this like classic box in Cornish.
Ah, there we are. Okay.
Yeah. I like that back-to-back videos. That was great.
But, I'll get
Oops.
back to the screen share. And we'll have a picture now. Of,
Is it the multiple skillywiddens?
It's the
Oh no,
It
might be.
is. It is the
Yeah.
multiple skillywiddens. Here we are.
So I remember when Hilary said to me that Dalla was going to diversify and use 2 different names for 2 different sorts of lineup that they were going to do, and I remember thinking, oh, that's quite an unusual idea, and it just worked absolutely brilliantly, because look at all these people, all these guests that appeared,
I was
adding
wondering.
themselves to the core of Skillywiddens.
I was wondering whether we could get Becky to name them all. What do you reckon, Beck? If you unmute, I don't know where you are, whether you're there, or maybe Neil.
I can
you-
see her.
Did you want me to name all the people?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, crikey. There's Will, Mark, you, me, Jen, Neil, and Jim on one.
Yeah,
And there's Mark. I can't see. Richard and Sean and you. Kit, Jen, Neil, Will, Hilary, Dave, me.
Pete.
Then, oh, sorry, Pete. Oh, yeah, Pete.
Yeah.
Hilary, Jen Wes.
Pete Kubrick.
Yeah, Pete Kubrick. Colin, Neil, and I.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
that's
don't know.
No, that's all right. That's Rachel.
Rachel Kane in the middle there on the didgeridoo.
I'm not on that one, you see.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
And
you
Hilary,
couldn't
me.
Oh, you probably weren't there that year.
No, I wasn't. Neil and of course Steve.
And yeah, so as we had to have a woman sitting down, so we had Rachel Kane instead of.
I always wished I could have played those particular drums standing up, but I'll have to find a way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I just want, can I just jump in and say it was Pete Kubrick who started Stephen on the double bass. And of course, I think maybe Francis would say that Kathy started because of Stephen.
Well, I think it was all in a connection around the same time, because Pete gave Kathy a lesson or two as well.
Right.
Yeah, and definitely seeing Stephen playing in sessions and things, yeah, was an inspiration. Yeah.
I just love, one of my favorite.
Oh, Pete.
Yeah, my favorite bits is the fact that we had so many different people joining us. It was always really fresh. You never knew quite what was going to happen next, and I just love that. But I must say, our lovely brass lineup at the moment that we've got are just great to play with. And this is I'm going to the next thing I'm going to show you is Skillywidden playing, and this one is Dugenis, and I'll just have to sort the microphones out again, and this is at 2018, and actually you can see the brass there. We actually do start with a bit of the brass improvising, so here we go. I thought that was just we saw Emma Packer there as the king dancing by.
Yeah, I saw Joe, I think.
And Rowan, you were there. I don't know if you're still watching. To see those dancers and just lovely to hear it all again, like you said.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the photos.
Where are we at? What's next? What's next? I don't know about everyone else, but when I watch these things, I'm not just like hearing the music and everything. I can virtually like see every detail of that hall and, you know, smell what it's like when you walk in there, and it is pretty amazing. Right, okay, so we mentioned Hen Avec earlier on, who met in Baggers Crowd, and this at the top, Gorvagus, which means supergroup in Cornish. This is another group who met while in Baggers Crowd, because Dan on the drums started in Baggers Crowd when he was very small. Rose will tell me, I think he was about 7 years old, perhaps, playing a drum. And then Pemma from the Bennetts, her two boys, Tashi and Tenzin, are the other people in the group. And it's part of one of the things I want to do with Baggers is that if every single person in Baggers left because they wanted to form a band, I would be pushing them out of the door. I don't want people to, you know, think that they can only do one thing, and that's going to be the community group. And what has happened is that they have then come back and, you know, shared what they've learned and helped everybody else out as well. And even occasionally, as you can see as well, other people from Baggers might do some form of duo or trio. So me and Neil McMahon there, who played a great deal of music, but very rarely in on stages or in front of anybody else, did a little floor spot, which I was really proud of, because we worked quite hard to do that, but it was always very improvisatory and never sounded the same twice. And to have the opportunity to do a little floor spot like that was really fun, so that the various ensembles of Baggers, you know, they can also include anybody, whether you are the leader or whether you're somebody who is new. So that's what's going on there. And I think Hilary has got a Gorvagus track, which I had forgotten about this track until I was listening to everything to put the tracks onto the Nos Lowen album, and it was just so atmospheric. I was really really struck by it, and it's one that Hilary suggested is also a Cornish Hall dance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just about to start. It might be hard to do Coinage Hall on your own.
That's
But,
true.
you
And
can.
it's Neil's and Melware's.
Oh yes, and Melware's. Do free fall to this.
Time to put the kettle on, maybe.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah,
I
and
know.
they have a recording as well. They've made like an EP. So yeah, great.
I know it's there's a little bit rough around the edges and everything, but the fact that it's just such a creative piece, they which is what we always wanted with Nos Lowen, is to really be inspirational with the music as much as with the dancing. And I think Gorvagus really, were great at getting that idea. So onwards and upwards. Who next? Who else have
Who
we
next?
got?
I'm guessing it's going to be Hebmar next.
Oh,
Oh no, it's not. Ah no, look, it's more people inspired by Baggers Crowd. So this is especially for John Dudding, who I know is listening. One year when Monthol was looming, the festival, Midwinter Festival in Penzance, John really thought it'd be great if the band Morvoran, who were the sort of alternative to the Gorvagus, there were three girls called Morvoran, and Kathy, Senan, and Charlotte. John wanted them to play at Monthol. Well, they couldn't because only two of them could make it. This didn't stop John at all. And the way I remember it is one Baggers Crowd practice. So that would mean most of the people I've been talking about would have been there, including relatives of people in the young people's bands and John and myself, obviously. By the end of the practice, a new band had been formed that was going to play at Monthol, because I remember it being Charlotte, young Charlotte, who asked all the young people in the room, "Are you free to play a gig at Monthol?" And some of the young people in the room included Fiona, who's there, and Eve, and Ruby, all these people, fantastic musicians, and they said, "Well, why not?" And I couldn't believe it that I had said to John several times, they can't play because they can't make it, and a new band was formed which could play. So that was the Baguettes. That's how they came about. And
so and then below, of course, we have we say the Red River Singers and the Treggies. There's There are other people there, though. There are people from other singing groups. Penny Parsons is, I can see, who's from Mid Cornwall, and lots of people just joined us. I'm delighted that there's a bit of picture of my dad singing with us there, who doesn't sing with us anymore, and so it's lovely to have that picture of him. But we always wanted to, just like involving Cascana, we always wanted to get some singing into all our events as much as dancing and playing. So it's lovely. And the other person that's is very special to see there is Len Davies, who died a few years ago, who was a lovely member of our singing group.
of Baggers Crowd and Henavik as well.
I've just spotted Brendan at the back there, and I was just thinking.
Oh yeah.
So we always had these sort of acoustic spots where so that Brendan had a chance to reset the stage for the next band. So moving on to the next slide, I think what we have next is Salt and Sky and Sam.
Oh yeah, Salt and Sky and Sam and Neil.
And
More.
I got some audios of them. So shall we crack on and play those?
Yeah, so at one point a few years back, I had a birthday party, and one of my presents was the first ever performance by Salt and Sky duo, because they actually, Emma and Lizzie from Salt and Sky, met at Baggers Crowds, which was really lovely. And they also they reformed to play when we launched the Nos Lowen CD at Heartlands at the end of September, which was really exciting. People were asking me constantly, when are Salt and Sky playing? They were the people to see on that day because of that reforming, which is really nice.
And I do have to say something about this one, because this was one of my favourite ones that Salt and Sky did. It's Lamorna, and some of you may remember, you can do a cabin down to it. But it's just the funniest version with slowing and speeding up, and a sort of minor version. So this is their version, which we ended our CD with because it was such a great finisher. So we'll play that.
there already. Look at you lot. Wait, you've got to wait till I start singing. This song I'll sing to you. It's about a maiden fair I met the other evening in the corner of the square. She had a dark and roving eye, her hair hung to her shoulder. We roved all night in the pale moonlight, oh, way down to Lamorna. 'Twas down in Albert Square, I never shall forget. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds, and the evening it was wet, and her hair hung down in curls. She was a charming rover. We roved all night in the pale moonlight, oh, way down to Lamorna. As she got in the cab, I asked her for her name, and when she gave it to me, well, mine it was the same. So I lifted up her veil, for her face was covered over. To my surprise, it was my wife. I took down to Lamorna. 'Twas down in Albert Square, I never shall forget. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds, and the evening it was wet, and her hair hung down in curls. She was a charming rover. We roved all night in the pale moonlight, oh, way down to Lamorna. I love the mayhem. She said, I know thee well, I know thee all along, I know thee in the dark, and did it for a lock. Ha ha! For that lock you'll pay, for the taking of your donor, you'll pay the fare. I do declare, oh, way down to Lamorna. 'Twas down in Albert Square, I never shall forget. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds, and the evening it was wet, and her hair hung down in curls. She was a charming rover. We roved all night in the pale moonlight, oh, way down to Lamorna. Yeah. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
I love that way. She's always a pleasure. That was great. We're going to go straight on to Sam Jago and Neil Davey now, and their recording for the album, and it's hand in hand. So I know it's normally a couple dance, but I'm sure you can improvise, and perhaps Carmen can give us some, hints and tips so that people so that people, oh no, actually Joe and Zenna are there, they can be actually do it because there's two people in the same video. So if anybody wondering how to do it, you can can have a look at them. So here we go with Armenes. That's Sam's DJ name, but he likes to be called Sam Jago. And funnily enough, they're playing Bouncing Sam Jago, which I wrote for him when he was about 8 months old, I think. So yeah, he's now a drum and bass DJ, which is a slightly different style of genre of music to the ones we have normally. But feel free to dance whatever you like to this.
Do not be alarmed. We have everything in hand. In hand. 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 Hand in hand. Hand. Hand in hand. Hand. Hand in hand.
Thank you.
I think I'm probably a bit biased, but loving that. I love to see you all dancing. Alex was there too, dancing away, and Joe and Zena and Carmen and Beck, and also Sandra. You were grooving there. I saw. It was brilliant. Okay, so we just so you all know, we've got 3 more tracks. No, well, we've got 4 more tracks. So you just to be so you know that we are going to be running later than 4 o'clock. So I apologise if you need to leave or anything, but we weren't sure at all about how long it was all going to be. So Francis, do you want to say something about this next group, Hebmar? Who are they?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we were talking earlier on about bands formed from different places. One of the members of Baggers Crowd is Karen Roach, who coincidentally worked with Hilary as well years ago. And she was having fiddle lessons with me, and Dan's her husband, so he began to come along to Baggers, and then we started a duo, and Hilary joined us. Well, actually, it's about 3 years ago now. And Hebmar means without a doubt in Cornish, and it has been a great thing to be able to get back into playing music with Hilary, because it did start out as before we did all this admin and vast projects and huge things, it was me and Hilary playing music. So it's been quite an amazing thing to come back, and also to get used to the fact that not only does she play the clarinet, she plays 3 clarinets actually, of different varying timbres and note, etc. And it's
At the
been
same time.
at the same time, simultaneously. Yeah, so
So I've got a video again, which I'm going to. So I'm going to stop the sharing and reshare the video so that you can all see the video, and then I'll be unplugging my microphone. So the video is Hebmar and sorry, but there's another Hand in Hand, loves. Didn't think about the dancing. I was thinking too much about the bands and the videos.
Judith will practice her hand jive yet again.
Excellent. This is Hern and Widden, and it's from the 2019 one. Can you see that? Are you able to see this? Can you see the screen?
Got the screen with the dancers, yeah.
Great. Okay, so now just
amazing amount of hair wafting into the air there from somebody. Don't know who that is actually.
That's a lovely. I think they're friends of Tenzin's. A lot of Tenzin's friends came that year. Right, I'm just going to change the microphone. I've seen a Kate there.
Hey.
You and all sorts of people. That was lovely. I just
Yeah.
need to say that. Sorry, I just remembered about this.
Kate just put in the chat that was her and Tom, who can play Olengario on the fiddle, because I gave him a fiddle lesson just before Christmas. Just thought you'd like to know.
And the actual film was Matty Clark.
Yeah.
He actually did a really good job there of editing it and everything. So thanks to him. And we've had Black Eyed Nancy and
Hello. Well, you might have to hear me. Oh, Hilary.
Sorry.
Were you going to say something there, Hilary? So, we lost you briefly.
I was just saying that the Black Eyed Nancy. We heard them a while back. And Kath, I was just saying about how seeing Kathy growing up through all these different bands.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit like that. And when you talked about Sam as well, and how you wrote the tune for Sam, and it just seems like in a blink of an eye that 1 minute Kathy is, needing the childcare arrangements, needing to sort of be wearing the pajamas before the last dance of the Noslowen so she can go straight home to bed, and then suddenly she's doing something like Black Eyed Nancy, which was an amazing sort of journey, and involved, as I was saying, going through those bands, Morvoran and the Baguettes, and finally into Black Eyed Nancy. So yeah, and then we've got the Upside Down people as well.
So, I was going to say,
they don't mind. Yeah.
I hope that Neil and Jen don't mind us using such an uncomplimentary photo of them. But,
I'm sure there's worse photos of you, Hilary, on space somewhere.
Yeah, but I didn't put them in this slideshow. So yeah, these were two bands that were at a Grandpound gig, and we're going to play something from both of them. I'm going to do a video of Davy and Dyer. So,
somebody said to me, I think it was Jackie, this Christmas, that we can't imagine Jingle Bells not being played in 5/4, because dancing to Jingle Bells in 5/4 was a bit of a Davy Dyer special event now.
Surely the only right way to do it.
Absolutely, it just sounds awkward and disjointed any other way.
So I'm going to stop the share a minute, and then we're going to get to see the video. This is a video of Davy and Dyer, and it was taken by, I think you can guess who it might be taken by, the picture you'll see up on your screen any minute, of the sound desk. So this is taken by Brendan, and just to another reminder that if it wasn't for Brendan, we wouldn't have had our lovely CD, because it was actually him who persuaded us that it was good to do a Noslowen compilation CD. So I'm going to just change my mics over, and we'll watch this one. It's another Henry Tamlin tune, Matilda, which is a lovely bouncy 5/4 cab and pemp.
I'm missing dancing so much, and I really, really want to do some more soon.
Oh, totally get that.
Yeah.
All the singing and the dancing and the playing. It's good. So that was shorter than I thought it was. I actually was getting quite off on it listening,
Yeah.
and I suddenly realised it had finished. So we've come to our last band, which is the newest band, which is Money to the Moon. So, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah.
before we-
Not only were they new, but they decided to do a very impressive thing, which was to play how many furry tunes was it? It was something like
10?
12 or something, or 10.
Yeah.
And they ran one furry into the other, which meant that we were just like running around on the floor. And I thought it was loads of fun to try and work out, oh, we're changing into this one, and to see how they just kept going on and on and on.
I think that
and it's
to me, that's like the way, you know, like the dancers and the musicians working together, you know, just that lovely connection and two-way thing, really, which I've always loved about Noslowen.
yeah, that's a really important
So
thing.
shall I? I've got an audio from them. So
Yeah.
you would
And
think
there are 3 of them are still going, by the way. They've Money to the Moon aren't together anymore, but 3 of them are called Jackson's Claret, and they are a band, so that's good.
and we're going to, this is the last one from the CD, and then we're going to finish with some footage from 2002 again, but we'll just finish with, so please join them for the last waltz around the room. I've forgotten what it's Can Jack.
Can Jack, isn't it? Yeah.
That's lovely. Oh, that made me feel quite emotional. Actually, it was like the last waltz. So I hope we'll have a first waltz one of these days. So we're coming on to our final little bit, and this is our thank you. That's to all of those who's helped us over the years. And if you have a look, it's to all the artists who played, to the dancers who came, and then Karen said this lovely thing. Do you want to just read the rest out, Francis?
Yeah, and mostly to Cornwall and the people in Cornwall for providing a rich culture in which to live and grow. Which is a lovely way to put things, which is one of the many skills of Karen, is to be able to express something like that.
And that's the cover of our Nos Lowen album there, which if you haven't got it, well, you've heard quite a lot from it now. So if you ever want to grab hold of a copy, you can get it from Michelle, or just message myself or Francis, and we'll sort out a copy. And this is a lovely, I couldn't find an up-to-date picture of the Big Nos team, but this is from 2013.
So this isn't everybody represented. As I said before, there are lots of different people over the years, but this is a good picture of a good spread of us. And Claire is right at the bottom left, I think.
There she is.
Yeah.
She's very shy and retiring, and she's done ever such a lot of our admin for us. Funnily enough, there's me and Francis taking centre stage. Haha. We think we're doing oggy.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what my hand is doing.
Yeah. So Kathy helped us. Oh flip, I've forgotten her name.
Sarah and Key.
Sarah.
And there's
Sarah and Keith Hume.
Jazz.
Neil, Jazz, and Ian, Bruce, and Nick.
Nick on the end.
Yeah.
Those are, as Francis says, those are just some of the people who've helped us. And one of the people who are helping us, who isn't in that photo today, is our lovely Michelle. And I'd like to say big thanks to her for organising the all the behind the scenes stuff that goes.
And also Mike, who's emceed and helped a lot also.
Oh, and without Mike, I mean, he's really helped us pull stuff together, and given us videos and photos. Actually, that's the other thing I wanted to say, Francis, that to thank the photographers over the years and the people taking little bits of footage on their phones. It's turned into something really important to, catalogue what we've done. So, and we're usually too busy to do it ourselves. So a huge thank you to everybody. And what we're going to do now, so this is your chance to either log off or stay on or go and get a cup of tea, because the next footage is 11 minutes long. It's from 2002, and it's Nine Brave Boys by Dalla, and I just love it. I mean, the quality is grainy, but I think even so, you can hear the kind of the raising of the energy from singing Nine Brave Boys into playing Nine Brave Boys. And I really hope that a lot of you will recognise people there. All of us looking just that little bit younger. And in fact, Pasco is very young because he's in my tummy. And you'll see me very pregnant. I was at, how pregnant was I, Francis?
6 months, I think. 6 months.
Pregnant.
Yeah.
So Pasco was there too, my son, who is now 18, by the way. So I'm going to stop this for the photos. Lovely to see everybody's smiling faces. And now I'm just going to, Francis, you're just going to have to talk a bit while I get it ready.
Oh my goodness. What could I possibly say? Well, at the beginning, various people said to me, oh, well, wasn't 2001 the first one? And when I looked it up, oh, it was 2002. So in fact, this means that next year is going to be the 20th, and fingers crossed, we've now got so much material and inspiration for planning a massive celebration of some kind next year, when it will be the 20th one. Well, thank you so much for so many of you coming along and sharing your knitting, what was it Sally was doing, the gusset of the thumb of the knitting, or whatever it was. You missed that. That was in the chat. The chat has been wild. You've missed.
Well, I'll look at that later. I was going to say, if you're still around after 11 minutes of this video, could we'll come back to the screen, and I'd love it if anybody wants to unmute and just give us some of their stories, tell us anything they'd like, just have a gossip with us.
This is the encore, and then afterwards it's that bit when some people are taking decorations down, some people have to go home, some people are so exhausted they're just sitting on the floor, some people are having a drink, coordinating lifts. Yeah, it's going to be that bit, and we'll still be here. So
that's right. So here we go. I am now going to share that screen, and then I'm going to sort my. So obviously this is a serpent dance, but you are free to do it in any way you like. But I do recommend just sticking around and listening to the whole lot of it, because it just there are many shades, different colours of happenings going on, whether it's the dancers or the musicians. So I'm just going to unplug and get my right microphone ready.
dear, Mr. Tallywhack, tally banana, we want to go home. A lovely bunch of ripe bananas, we want to go home. Happy Sydney, black to Raxa, we want to go home. Day-o, Mr. Day-o, dear like Donna, we want to go home. Day-o, Mr. Day-o, dear like
Beauty.
Woo! I feel exhausted just watching it.
That would have been at the end of about 6 hours of bands.
Why did we stop? Such lightweight.
Yeah.
So, wow, to all those people who just danced and danced.
But I could see Becky's mum dancing there, and I'm sure she was lit. She must have been about our age then, wasn't she, Beck? Did you see?
Yeah, I think she was. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You kind of see yourself then, and then I couldn't believe my haircut. That was when I was doing Red Shoes, but you kind of and then you look later on and you see your own children the same age as you were. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by all means, anybody who wants to come in, do come in. Because we've got 2 pages, you might just want to say it's blah here, Sarah here, Sandra here, and then I know where to find you if you're on another page. Does anybody want to add anything, or have you all been writing so much in the chat?
I just would like to say something, Hilary.
Yes, Angela.
It took me back to when Juliet and Alex got married, which is 24 years this year.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Out at Mile Hill, when you all, Joe Tagney and yourselves all.
Yeah, I was there.
Yes, I know. You're in the Jack and Jenny band, and it was people in America still talk about it.
Oh.
So you know, whenever they see me, they go, "Oh my God, that wedding!" You know. So you made an impression, and that all of what I've seen today is thinking, you know, we are so fortunate with everybody and their talents in Cornwall.
Yeah. Brilliant, Angela. And what I loved about that wedding, maybe Joe, you've got some memories as well, but there was a klezmer band that came down from London. And,
your first song reminded me of what you played. Remind me of the klezmer band.
And they didn't they put was it the bride or the bridegroom up on a chair?
Up on the chairs, yeah, very Jewish, yeah.
And they carried them above their heads. And we were playing a Cornish processional tune, but there's this Jewish procession going on. It was
wonderful, wasn't it? It was wonderful.
The other musicians were really lovely about our music, and one of them sent me a tape afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Set somewhere full of klezmer tunes from the fiddle player. Yeah.
Well, they were based in London, I think, and the in-laws brought them down because they wanted a representation of Jewish music. But I think they were so astonished by the music that you all played, they couldn't believe it. Oh, such talent in Cornwall, you know.
Brilliant memory. Thank you, Angela. Is there anybody else who'd like to come in on anything that they remember, or you know, it doesn't have to be from way back. It could be just last year. You know, just favorite memories or anything like that. Seeing as me and Francis have been yabbering on.
I'd like to say something. One, I'd like to say thank you so much to you and Francis for putting it on. It's been absolutely brilliant and kind of I'm really I wish you could hear that, everybody. It's been such a wonderful thing to watch through, and you realise how much has happened over that time. And like you say, all the little the candles on the tables and going to Porthtown Village Hall and it kind of feeling quite small at the beginning, but actually it's an amazing amount of work really, and wonderful to see, like you say, Kathy growing up through it, and I saw a little kiddo in there kind of growing through it, and just for me, like, this is a bit of a personal thing, but it was all, as a child, it was always really important for me to feel rooted somewhere, and the whole Noslowen and the whole Cornish music scene has really made that possible, and I think it's kind of, I hope we can carry on with it really. So I just think, well done. It's just what I wanted, having seen this now, is there's so many other people I wished had seen it, had who aren't on these pages. I know you've got 52 people or something, but you could have had so many more people on this, and it would. But yeah, really well done. I've got it's made me feel very emotional actually. I kind of lots of feelings going through.
Yeah, well, we've been there through thick and thin, haven't we, Beck?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to thank you two. Fantastic. I mean, my memories are very incoherent, but they're very happy in many places and many times over the years. So thank you. It's been fabulous. And it still will be. We will carry on. For sure. Yeah.
More to come. More to come.
More to come.
I'd like to sort of echo what Becca said. That my boys grew up with this whole Cornish music, Noslow and Baggers crowd scene, and thank you, all of you that were part of that, because it's made them the wonderful boys they are today.
I mean, wasn't it wonderful seeing the footage of them?
Oh, it was fantastic.
And I just loved that Sally's boy Chris and my boy Alfie were like thick as thieves, weren't they? And they would be mucking about, running in between the dancers, and I was really worried they were going to trip people over and things.
They were probably trying to. Well, Chris would have been, Alfie wouldn't.
I'm not sure. So, is there anything else anybody else would like to add in? Like I said,
I've been sitting here in the background listening to it all, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly, and I was particularly impressed with that last 9 Brave Boys. And when, not if, but when we have our big 20th anniversary due next year, I hope that we can try to recreate some of that and that atmosphere, because that was terrific.
Yeah. 11 minutes long. It just is that we're just that little bit older.
Yeah. With far more ideas and experience and confidence now, we should exceed that easily.
Definitely.
I always thought
20-minute version next time.
Well, I always thought it was easier being a musician than being one of the dancers. I used to feel very sorry for you all sometimes.
It was like a real aerobic workout, actually. 2 hours, 6 hours. It was kept you fit, really did. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Love it still. And I can't wait for the next one.
Well, I've just been really enjoying, I think a lot of people have been enjoying watching you dance in your kitchen, actually. Yes. So maybe we should have a series of kitchen Noslowens or something.
Maybe the next 3 months we should do more of these in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be cool.
And I just need to say that video and the footage from 2002 came from a woman called Sharon Lowen, who was very much a supporter in the earlier days. You know, when you think about it, we were watching a program the other day about technology and how it had come on in the 21st century. And, you know, the 2002 one was, before we all had internet. And a digital camera. We didn't even have a digital camera
at that point.
I remember Simon, our lovely guitarist, buying our first digital camera, and it was just great. Wow, how does that work? And what? It hasn't got a film.
It was just a photo camera as well. It wasn't a video back then.
That's right. And so Sharon Lowen with her video. So obviously we had it on VHS for ages, just a video, we couldn't get it. We didn't know even how to get it digitized. So it's been fantastic to be able to do it. Anyway, anything else before we let you all go and have a cup of tea?
Can I just say something, Hill?
You certainly can, Trace, in your beautiful in your beautiful tiara.
Oh yes, I'm the queen today.
No, I am.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
I got the bean.
No, I am, right?
Look, I got the cake.
I'm Spartacus.
Oh, Tracy.
This is the cake.
Spartacus.
Oh, look at that, everybody. Shall I just hold on a minute? Stay there. Don't do anything. How do I make you a spotlight? Oh, I was trying to make you, Oh, who's that?
You made her bark. That was an interesting one.
There we are. Spotlight on the cake.
Where is it? I can't see it.
Can you see it?
Oh. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Go to the next page.
Okay. Wow. Well, earlier on when my cat got on the desk here, she nibbled a bit.
I didn't realise, but she nibbled a bit. But
did she get the pea?
No, still inside.
You have.
Your cat sounds like a dog.
Yeah, I've got the dogs barking as well. But I know the first Degol Stul, there was so much I thought crammed into the day, and then later after that we had a sit down feast, which I thought was the most amazing thing, and I was privileged to be part of the caterers for that. And it's a wonderful feeling to sit down and feed everyone, have a sing, and then it just morphs into this great dance evening and you just have to dance and listen to the music and have a beer, and a lot of people you know are there, and they're just doing exactly the same thing. It's like some great wedding event really, but and it just, the evening goes on, and it just goes on and on, the dancing, and you think, that's it, I've done my last one now, I'm so tired, I can't do any more. And I remember saying that so many times, I can't do any more now. And then after a rest, I was up and dancing again, and I really miss it, and hope we can get back again soon and eat together and play and just dance, and just great really. There's nothing, I've never experienced anything like it in my life like that before.
It's the best thing.
Yeah, it's just amazing really, because there's because there's a lot of people involved in volunteering now. It's, it doesn't fall on a few shoulders, because lots of people contribute, and so it doesn't fall on a few anymore.
I was
And
thinking
so
that,
it just gets to be a really enjoyable thing all the time.
I was thinking that, Trace. I was thinking that that's one of the things. It's like, I just like the idea of the ownership being really broad, that we all take part in it in some way or another, that, it doesn't belong to anybody, it belongs to all of us, kind of thing, which is, what we always wanted with Noslowen anyway, a big sharing of stuff. But yeah, thank you. Was that Sandra just commenting earlier on?
Yeah, sorry. I just said it's the best thing.
Did you want to say anything, lovely, or you?
I just love it.
Was that it?
I just think it's amazing that you've included us all in this wonderful event that you created so long ago, and we've all been able to come in and join with you. It's just amazing.
Well, I mentioned, I was just going to say something, because I mentioned, a couple of hours ago or so, about how the event had a gap, and then we came back together to do it. And the years when there was a gap was a sort of bit of an uneasy thing, because we knew that Noslowen was absolutely never going to disappear, but we weren't doing much actively for it at that point, really, not as a group. The bands were doing Noslowens, but we as an organising group weren't doing anything. And I think we just have to remember that there is this ownership that Hilary was talking about, but there's also the instigation of key people, and Hilary would be the key person there, because she in 2012 got us together, wanting it to be shared as a working party, but she's the one who put that date in that we were going to do the event that following year. And so I think that should be very much remembered, that leadership. So Hilary,
Thank you. I just think that's hilarious, because I can't remember that, and I just thought,
She's always blooming instigating.
yeah, I was thinking, what a bossy old cat.
Bloomin' instigator, that's what she. It's a Bardic name. It translates to bloomin' instigator.
I definitely got the wrong Bardic name.
Oh, lots of friendliness, a kind event. That's a lovely thing to say.
Oh, I can read the messages now. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you very
I
much.
think we always wanted it to be like a party. Really. That was our.
Neil and Francis were brilliant wordsmiths, actually, and Neil came up with a really good phrase. Do you remember, Neil? About party.
Depends which one you mean.
About Noslowens and parties.
I can't actually remember. No, you'll have to.
No,
Sorry.
He said, if Cornwall is your home, Noslowen is your party.
Sounds like a political slogan, doesn't it?
Which it does, actually, but I like the sentiment very much.
We should have a banner with that across it when we dance.
Yeah,
make a banner.
Right, next job, Sandra.
That's your job, Sandra. You volunteered.
You could do it. You could do it in stained glass.
I think
glass, couldn't you?
Sally could knit one.
Knitted, embroidered, whatever. Oh, and
I'll have a word with Terry. I'm sure he could organise it. Is he still here?
I don't know. And of course we've got Georgina. She could make it in withies.
I could make it in glass.
Yeah. Look at the potential out there.
There is.
So much talent.
Yeah,
So
such a lot of artistic talent. Because I think that's another thing about Noslowen is that when we were talking about a lot of what I was saying was about decorating and setting things up, and I think that really shows when we're looking back on all this footage and pictures. You know, that we really wanted to be somewhere where you went in and you saw this beautiful backdrop, and I think that goes back to the theatre performance background of people like Joe and Hilary and Beck and others, which I don't think I had much big experience of thinking, what's the word? I was thinking earlier on, I felt like I learnt what parties were through Noslowen. I wasn't particularly into parties before. I can't tell you I've got great memories of, that amazing party when we, and I thought I sort of learned about it by doing the stuff, by having jobs to do and bringing the stuff along and being involved, and I think that's really amazing.
Well, I think it's quite funny you bring that up, because I've just remembered that I just mentioned it to Neil. The very first time I hired a hall for a party was when I was 18 for my 18th birthday, and we had a DJ, and it was like, woo, playing records DJ, I mean, and I just thought, wow, I've been booking events ever since. But I do think you may have bigged me up, but I would like to big you up, really, because of the music side of things, because if as you know, when we went through all those bands, Francis kept saying, oh, and this is somebody else who was in Baggers Crowd. Oh, this is another person who's in Baggers Crowd. Baggers Crowd has created such a plethora of Cornish musicians that, without Baggers Crowd, I don't know, our Cornish music scene would be very much smaller. And I think there's hats off to you, my darling. And crowns.
Thank you.
Hugely important.
So I was thinking about the workshops that we did, and do you remember the one we did at Heartlands when it was Georgina and Sheila who made the masks?
Oh yes.
Which we was going to use to parade round Heartlands.
Yes.
And ribbons and all these kind of things for the bonfire parade, which didn't quite go off how it had been planned.
I think Sandra's showing
I still got them.
All right.
These are the ones. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, Sandra, I'm going to do a spotlight on you. So
all right, I'll give you a good demonstration of the ribbons. There they are.
That's wonderful. Thank you, lovely. So
I've still got mine, look.
Beck's got one as well.
Oh, you have, yeah.
Wait a minute. I got to
and Tracy's mask and
Tracy, yeah.
I can't find you.
And Georgina's mask.
Bex.
Oh, Georgina's got hers.
Bex. There we are. Oh wow, that's a beauty.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, Bex is
coming out now.
Oh, and let me have a look at Georgina's. Georgina's is upside down on purpose, I presume. That's lovely. Right, I'm gonna stop the spotlight so that I can't remember how to do it. Oh yes, I can. There we are. So is there anybody want to say anything else? Any memories or anything that Oh, that was a big sigh. Maybe that was.
I'm sorry.
Maybe that was a cue for. Maybe
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. There's just so much you can say. It's just been such a wonderful time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and when we were trying to get this together, it was so hard to choose what to put in and what we had to out. So
yeah,
we're hoping that we can put it into some of it. I'm not quite sure how we get it into the National Music Archive, and our lovely Kate is here.
Kate will help. Yeah.
Kate, you'll be able to help us. Thank you, lovely.
That'd be the idea, that we could lodge all of this with them.
Figure something out.
I'm happy you're happy.
Oh.
really. Oh, hello.
It needs to be put down at Crescent Kernow, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That's exactly what we were saying. Yeah.
In 100 years' time, somebody will be researching you guys for doing this.
Yeah.
Just like you've been researching the ladies in music.
Thank you. I was just going to say, Kate was going to say something. So, Kate, what were you going to say, lovely?
No, I crashed into Beck. I really enjoyed this afternoon listening to all the music and seeing the video. So thanks so much, first of all, for doing this afternoon, and thanks for all your efforts over all the years, making this music and bringing people together. I missed the last Nos Lowen. I think it was in the old bakery in March last year. I met up with a friend and we were going to come, and I was tired.
Yeah.
I had the energy to dance all night, and we didn't come, and I've regretted it.
Oh. You'll get another chance.
I know.
That was a good night.
No dancing.
We'll do it again, Kate.
Yeah, thanks so much, and I look forward to the next time with lots of anticipation.
Thanks, lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I expect that is enough, isn't it? I'm sure.
Well, when Neil said that Hilary and I could do a Zoom where we chatted about Nos Lowen, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work out. But thanks, Neil, for the idea.
Yeah.
Don't regret it a bit.
When
3 hours later.
When we've recovered. Yeah.
Oh,
well, we would have only had a few bands by now, wouldn't we? This would be about halfway through the evening. If that.
Oh, well, just a huge big thank you to all of you for joining us today.
Yeah, so many of you. It's amazing.
As always, we always used to finish our Nos Lowens with a big serpent and saying, you know, we couldn't do this without you. You know, we could stand up on stage and play music. We can book a hall, we can put up posters, but it has to have people like you lot all coming along and joining in to make it work. So we must never forget that, and that's brilliant. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Hilary. Thank you, Frances and everybody.
Let them know with Dad. Do get away. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, loves.
Bye.
Oh,
I love all the waves.
Well.
The screen is very animated. Oh, photos are happening. That's cool.
I suddenly realised I can.
It's been brilliant to have Amy with us, and also Palmyra. So we've had people from Spain and the USA. So that's.
I'm actually going to stop the recording now.
Nos Lowen. Yeah.